Good afternoon, Westwood, and welcome. We are at Westwood High School. Tom Leyden on camera and microphone today, Morgan Donahue, for a non-league matchup between the Fontbonne Ducks and your Westwood Wolverines. Fontbonne coming in today at 5-1, your Westwood Wolverines at 3-2 on the season. And a big-time matchup today. We finally, Tom, have a somewhat okay, decent day after some very frigid, cold, and very moist, high moisture days. So
you never quite know what to expect here, though, at this field, Morgan. I have brought my jacket because it gets breezy. It does get a little chilly.
I did pack one in the car just in case. I haven't done that in previous weeks, but I've learned my lesson that it can change on a dime. Prime example, the girls lacrosse game the other day. Beautiful start to that game. And then it got to about 30-mile-an-hour winds, pretty decent and solid rain towards the end. And it was perfect timing to just get it done and over with, close that out. They got the win. But a beautiful day we have today. We are on the outfield. We're just a little left of second base and behind the new home run fence here, Tom. And you saw the inaugural home run hit here against, was it?
Norwood.
Norwood, yes.
Yeah. So Sasha Marina took the honors. This is a huge addition because it was nearly impossible. I mean, even me hitting fly balls from home plate, I couldn't get it out of here. But Sasha was able to put it over the fence. That was the first home run. And of course, that came with an ice cream from Bubbling Brook. So congrats to Sasha. And her sister Julia actually hit one during a JV game before that. So it runs in the family.
Absolutely.
But it's fun to be out here. We can heckle the outfielders a little bit.
Yep.
We got Amelia O'Neill and Julia Raffoni and Mia Poles that we're taking a peek at right here. And of course, this is a big get-right game for the Wolverines. They've dropped 2 in a row. They lost earlier this week to Holliston. And of course, you were on the game last Friday in Hopkinton. So 2 back-to-back blowout losses, which is frankly surprising. And it's time for this team to pick it up, rebound, and get a win against a 5-1 Fontbonne squad.
Absolutely. And first pitch just a little bit, actually, no, caught the corner. So first pitch called strike. Bridget Malkeen, one of the 4 senior captains, or one of the 4 captains, 3 seniors, 1 junior, the 1 junior being Abby Johnson. That ball is fouled off on the right side, so a quick 0-2 count. And this is peak Malkeen. She always, when she is on her game, she gets the first 2 quick strikes, and she gets ahead in the count. And she was doing that the other day versus Hopkinton, but Hopkinton, just a talented team. They kept battling to then get into the count. So rise pitch is high. It's going to be 1 ball and 2 strike count. And the leadoff hitter is Jolly, center fielder for the Fontbonne Ducks. Oh, and a beautiful pitch right down the middle for the strike 3 call. And the first out for the Wolverines.
Real important game. Real glad that this game is on the schedule before the girls take the break, because they have that traditional spring break where they don't play for a stretch. So I know the girls who are here during the break will get an opportunity to get together and practice, but it'd be nice to get a win here and get some positive momentum going before they head out on spring break.
Foul ball hit down the right line.
So as we look around the diamond, we might as well tell people who's playing where. Eve Clinton's at first base, and then Mia French is playing second. Of course, Bridget is about to deliver the next pitch, so I'll stick on this right here as we continue to go around the field. We have Sasha Marino playing shortstop and Abby Johnson at third. And of course, Mia Poles out here in left field. The freshman, Julia Raffoni, right in front of us here at center. And Amelia O'Neill playing right field today. She was sick, missed a couple of games, but she's back, and her bat in the lineup is key.
In play, maybe scooped up by Clint. She's going to touch the bag for the second out. And one thing you mentioned last year, Tom, and seen a lot of it, is that right field position and the right side of the infield is a very important part. Especially when Malkeen's on the mound and she's humming it. It's a lot of balls are late on the swing.
Yeah,
and,
critical.
Yeah.
This might be the opposite with a lefty at the plate, but not only is it a very busy area of the field when most of the hitters are right-handed, but the ball, when you're playing right field, kind of slices away from you because it's just coming in so fast out of Bridget's hands. So it's a very difficult position to play.
That was actually a question I had asked Amelia O'Neill on the most recent podcast, which will be out tonight with the softball captains. And I said, you get a lot of hard ground balls when you're playing second base with a lot of spin on it. How do you even put yourself in position? And she gave a really thoughtful answer to that. Swing and miss, I believe, might have caught a piece of the bat. But she gave a very thoughtful answer where she knows it's going to work its way, when you're facing home plate, right to left. So she'll work her way over, making sure that the glove is coming off the ground and up. But it was a very interesting perspective because we've seen a ton, and it's very common with Malkeen on the mound. That was an off-speed pitch, just a little bit low.
Bridget ended up throwing 150 pitches at Holliston, and that's a lot, even for somebody who's used to pitching every single inning of every single game. She usually doesn't get up that high.
That is fouled off to the backstop, so we have a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs. Malkeen looking to get the strikeout to allow Westwood to put the bats in their hands. The 3-2 pitch. Chopper, and it's going to be a foul ball.
We'll get a chance to talk more about Izzy Walsh when she steps up to the plate, but wow, what a start to the season. She's had really smacking the cover off the ball and, of course, holding it down behind the plate.
She's a terrific battery mate for Malkeen. And that's going to be inside for ball 4. So C is going to take the catcher. C is going to take first. And her sister is going to be the next one up at bat. She is playing second base. So the C sisters. And a great pitch. Swing and miss. A nice positioned pitch there, just outside corner. Malkeen getting ahead in the count.
Point out, Morgan, that this might be the first game that's being broadcast off a phone.
Yes, very impressive. And another beautiful pitch. So 2 in a row, right in that outside corner, getting swing and miss on both of them.
It was just bound to happen. With technology advancing as much as it is, it's amazing to think, even as recently as 10 years ago, that we could even do this.
It's incredible. That pitch is outside. I think, Tom, you might be due for a protein shake after, because holding it like that, you're going to get quite the workout.
Even when I used to do this at the local television station I worked out in Pennsylvania,
there
were some people who were committed to the tripod, and I never liked the tripod for live action. I just think it's tough to smoothly move and catch the action. So
especially this sport where balls are hit sharply in all types of directions, and also be able to zoom in and kind of get the pulse of the game. So see, doing a good job battling here. Fouled that one off. 1 ball, 2 strike count. That one is hit fouled on the left field line. Doing a good job battling.
So clearly we don't know too much about Fontbonne, but they do come into today's game with a 5-1 record.
Yeah.
They play in a completely different league. This is a non-league game for Westwood before they re-engage with the TVL after the break. So a great opportunity to see an unfamiliar opponent.
That ball is high. It's going to hit the backstop, and C is going to advance to second base. So runner in scoring position with 2 outs. I believe it's a 3-2 count. So a 3 ball, 2 strike count for C. That ball is high. So that was 2 strikes. So now it's a full count. We'll see what the runner does here. Most likely going to wait for contact. Pitch from Malkeen. And a swing and a miss. Malkeen gets the strikeout to keep it scoreless here after a half inning. So after a half inning, Westwood 0, Fontbonne 0. Welcome back, folks. The Wolverines now up at the plate. Sasha Marino going to lead off for the Wolverines. Shortstop and senior captain. And also the first player to hit a home run on this new fence. Beautiful fence. We are located just center of left field, or just left of center field, excuse me. Marino's going to take first pitch ball. So the pitcher for Fontbonne is Labrador. Don't have first names, I just have first initials. That ball is fouled off. Looks like it's hovering towards the line. It's going to hit foul territory.
Sasha's obviously the lifeblood of this team, and she wasn't here for tryouts, and she actually missed the first game actually, because the Norwood game was rained out, and she was able to play in the Norwood game when it was rescheduled. But she adds that whole level of energy that is so vital to this team's success.
Last year, hit over 500 if if I have that right. I mean, what an impressive year she had at the plate. He gets a bat on that one into left field for a hit. So leadoff hit for the Wolverines. Sasha Marino aboard with Mia Poles coming to the plate.
Now, Mia's been a really interesting story this year so far because she's been putting the bat on the ball. She actually started the year, Morgan, hitting in the 9 spot. And,
Wow.
you know, people have different opinions about the 9 spot.
Yeah.
My daughter used to hit in the 9
It's
spot,
important.
and I used to tell her, I'm like, listen, if you get on base, you're going to score.
Yeah.
So just focus on getting on base. And, you know, Mia did that early this year, and she might be bunting here, but, you know, she's been putting the bat on the ball.
And she shows bunt. Ball gets away. Marino is going to advance to second base. So effectively, without the bunt, did what you were looking for.
And now it would be nice to see if Coach Grandy lets her swing away here and try to get the ball in play, because she has been putting the bat on the ball and really started this year out well.
She had 2 hits for us. Very impressive pitcher. And Hopton gets the ball on the ground. It's going to be called foul. And Mike Maui here on the field. Always a pleasure.
Where all the cool kids are.
It is. It's a cool section
There
over
he
here.
is.
The man, the myth, the legend. But Mia had 2 hits for the Hillers the other day. Very productive at the plate. A swing and miss there. A nice off-speed pitch by Labrador.
So interesting. TG had the bunt on when it was 1-0.
Yeah.
Called it off when it was 1-1. So I'd assume that she's got the freedom to hit here.
And gets the strikeout. Labrador able to retire Poles for the first out. It looks like another off-speed pitch.
And here comes Izzy Walsh, Morgan. And not only is she hitting, but she's not wasting a lot of time.
Yeah. No,
She's
right
very
in
aggressive.
right in the box. Her on-base percentage is tremendous. She does a good job. She's a very patient hitter. She doesn't need to swing on the first pitch. You know, it's the opposite of Nomar. Nomar was always a first pitch hitter. And she's very patient, finds her way on base, and does a good job advancing as well. I specifically remember the big triple she hit in the senior night game at Morrison Park, and she got up and flexed the muscles. It was iconic.
You know, Izzy's got a great personality, and I've never seen someone who hits the ball so many times hard and is robbed. You know, she's very rarely hitting it softly.
That's, I think, 4 pitches in a row of balls. So she's going to take first base. So going to have runners on first and second, 1 out. Coming to the plate is the pitcher, Bridget Mulkeen, who is quite the hitter herself. She had, I believe, 3 home runs last year. And she hit the heck out of the ball in the senior night game at Morrison Park, hitting it to the fence right by the fire station on, I believe, 2 of her doubles.
I'll tell you this much. When she does go deep, it's basically to right about where we are. So
Yes.
I hope you brought your glove.
I am ready. And that's a ball outside, so 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, a lot like JD Martinez in that regard, because
Yeah.
JD's power was to right center
Yep.
field. And Bridget, very similarly, can hit it to right center and also make connections on pitches that are high.
It's Jerry Remy used to say it's a sign of a natural hitter when you can hit the ball to the opposite field. Everyone can and everyone wants to pull, you know, over the green monster, but if you can hit one to the right side of the outfield, that's a sign of a really pure swing. And that is coming our way. It's going to fall in the gap. It does. So Marino's going to advance to third, and Walsh gets to second safely. So we're going to have the bases loaded, 1 out. And coming to the plate for the Wolverines is Abby Johnson.
So great opportunity here for Abby, who also had a really strong game against Ashland. Got ourselves a courtesy runner. I think that's Catherine Granada who's coming in for Bridget Mulkeen. But Abby really took advantage of the bases being full in that game against Ashland and knocked in a bunch of runs. And I know you had a great chance to speak with the captains, and Abby is the one junior captain on this team, very deserving of that honor.
She's a natural-born leader. Mom and dad were baseball and softball players. That's a ball outside. Also part of the maze where there's something in the water there that breeds competitive athletes. Eve Clinton, another one on the team. both actually right across the street from each other, right on Baker Street. So
Sure. And then not too far down is your nephew.
yeah, you got Sesselman's over there too. So it's a
Oh, that's
lot of
right,
great
Sessamans,
athletes.
yeah, Baker.
Rufo, you know, a lot of great baseball, softball players, and then you got lacrosse as well. That was an off-speed pitch, and third base picks it up, throws it to home, but actually it looks like it was safe at home for Marino. She did touch the bag, so that is 2 outs. So great actual play by the third baseman, able to touch the bag, just nearly missed getting the double play to get out of the inning unscathed. But Marino, great piece of running, went right home, touched the bag to beat the throw, and Wolverines on the board 1-0.
So here's my birthday buddy, Mia French.
And she takes a first pitch call strike. So
Only the best, born on August 30th. And Mia French is one of them. But 2 ACL tears, Morgan. How about that?
Oh my goodness. That builds character. You know, those are some of the... Meredith Frank is someone I think of. She has torn both ACLs. She's torn both her Achilles tendons. And, you know, ultimate competitor. She actually she tore her Achilles coaching a game. She finished coaching the game on her knees.
Oh.
She is the NDA coach, one of the most decorated lacrosse players to come through Westwood. Her mom, obviously, is a name that nearly everyone in town recognizes, with her 8 state championships she won over a 20-year period at Westwood. And that is an off-speed pitch and a swing and miss. That was a beautiful pitch to get the strikeout. So after 1 full inning, Wolverines up 1-0 on Fontbonne Ducks.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back, folks. It is the top of the second inning. Wolverines up 1-0. Coming to the plate for Fontbonne is Hubbard. Plays third base. The Ducks. A low pitch for ball 1. A very productive inning for the Wolverines. Looks like we got a tennis ball in play.
Usually goes the other way.
Yeah.
It's usually all of us over here screaming heads up.
Say it, heads up, yeah. That's a first. But,
yeah, the tennis ball doesn't hurt as much.
No. I'll take that exchange. I'll take the tennis ball over a softball any day. Pitch outside. There's going to be 2 balls, no strikes for Hubbard. Hubbard, the 5-hitter. Fouls that one off. That was a good pitch from Malkin. So Malkin, one of the things we talked about on the podcast is what an example she sets. Obviously, with all the strikeouts, that's really a big part of her game. But how she plays in the field. We saw a game last year in Millis. She dove for a ball and I think cut her arm up and everything, got up and was unfazed by it. And everyone's like, oh my goodness. And that was, I believe, the first pitch of the game. So she set the tone for, her teammates. And her teammates, when I asked them on the podcast, I go, when you see that, how much does that fire you up? And they go, oh, it's just, we don't want to let her down,
Yeah.
And vice versa. I asked Bridget, I go, what's it like when your team gets 4 or 5 runs across the plate, first inning, second inning? She goes, that fires her up. So it's kind of a 2-pronged system of, the pitcher firing up the team when they're up at the plate, and also the team firing Bridget up when she's out in the mound. The 2-2 pitch. A swing and a miss. Mulkeen with her third strikeout of the game.
You know, Morgan, I've been blessed, honestly, that I was able to coach Bridget for many years. And from when she was young, you know, you're talking 10 years old. And she's been a pitcher for so long that we knew it was going to be important for her to be a good fielder. And a lot of that's on bunts. A lot of that's on hits right back to her. And one of the things that I really tried to instill on her was when you field the ball and you're throwing to first, it is always step and throw. Step and throw. Field it, step and throw. And I think even still, I think that, and she does too, whenever there's a ground ball that comes back to her.
And she's got a cannon, so she can afford to take an extra second. And, you know, it does put a little pressure on Clinton, but Clinton has been so impressive so far in the field where she's been pretty sure-handed, you know, on the hard throws that come her way. One hoppers, you know, balls that might be just a little bit off the mark, she'll catch it, touch the bag. You know, it seems like she has been, you know, playing first base for quite a while.
And we were joking before the game. I live with a lower level of anxiety knowing it's not my daughter on the receiving end of those throws to first base.
It's a very important position. I mean, there really is no position on the field that is not important.
Well, I was standing next to Brian Clinton during the first game against Dedham, and it was one of the first throws to first, and he fielded it cleanly, and I could just sense.
And Mulkeen, back-to-back strikeouts, her fourth of the game so far.
I could sense from Brian that sense of dread as we take a look at Eve right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm passing the torch, my man. I know that feeling. But Eve has done a great job, and she's like, just, as you look at her, just built to be a first baseman.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's like a goalie in hockey. You know, it's a very important position. Where it's different positions, but similar feelings for parents, where a lot can happen, a lot of action. The ball inside and low.
Before Dahlia played first, Marissa Poma held it down for 4 years, and you talk about the combination, both a goalie and a first base.
Yeah.
And she just was a vacuum over there.
And natural too with the right glove. You know, it's always been the traditional natural first base, lefty throw, right glove. John Olerud, guy I think about when I think about first base and natural lefty. That ball is outside and high. 3 balls and no strikes, I believe, or 3 and 2. Not sure. We'll see on this pitch.
Scoreboard says 2-2.
2-2, okay. 2-2 pitch. Oh, and that is hit well to left field. Wind is pushing it down, hits the ground. Ford going to work her way into second base and standing at second with a stand-up double. That was a well-hit ball. The wind certainly had an impact of dropping in on the playing side of the fence. So no home run, stand-up double for Ford with 2 outs. Just going to bring LaFlame to the plate, right fielder for Fontbonne.
You know, and that introduces a whole nother dynamic too. Now the girls have to know how to play the fence.
Yeah.
You know, how close am I? There's no warning track.
Yeah.
So.
And it's also a lot of communication. You know, in those situations where you know it's up and it's high, you're waiting to hear, you know, where to go position-wise from the coach, but also where to throw. You know, you'll hear 2, 3. You know, if you hear 4, that means, you know, they're throwing it at 4. So you're looking for the cutoff, whether it's shortstop or second base, to hit them on the next throw going home. That ball is fouled off. So 2 balls and 1 strike for LaFlame. Ford on second base. We have 2 outs here. The top of the second inning. Tom Leyden, Morgan Donahue here. Tom on the iPhone 13.
14, man.
14.
Don't chintz me.
So 3 balls, 1 strike. And a beautiful pitch by Mulkeen. And we got a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And a beautiful pitch. Malkeen gets the strikeout to strike out the side. And after 1.5 innings, Westwood 1, Fontbonne nothing. All right, welcome back, folks. Wolverines coming up to the plate here in the bottom of the second inning. Amelia O'Neill, one of the senior captains, leading off the Wolverines. She's in right field today. And Tom, one of the things that I learned from the podcast, Amelia O'Neill's mother, Ann O'Neill, great softball player herself.
Yeah, softball and soccer. Went to Providence. Really instinctive, and it rubs off. And of course, you know, Amelia's grandfather played for the Red Sox, so.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
That is incredible. So, some great DNA. And I had just learned that Amelia was the babysitter for my niece, Isla Donahue, and camp counselor at Noble's Day Camp.
No kidding.
And she gets the bat on that one. It's the short, and it's going to get through the legs of the shortstop. Amelia O'Neill is going to be on base for the Wolverines. They'll lead off. It's going to be an error on the score sheet, but she is on base to lead off. And then coming to the plate for the Wolverines is Julia Raffoni, for the freshman coming to the plate. Center field today for your Wolverines. And she shows bunt, gets it on the ground. And a great effort running to first, but advances O'Neill to second. So job well done by Julia Raffoni, able to get the ball on the ground and advance O'Neill to second, the runner in scoring position with one out.
And here comes Eve Clinton, and we didn't even get a chance to point out, because she bunted the first pitch successfully, that we went from somebody whose grandfather played for the Red Sox to somebody whose grandfather played for the Patriots.
So I did not know that as well. And I live in the same neighborhood, so I got to catch up with my
You're
neighbors.
good, man. It's very rare that I have tidbits that outdo your tidbits. So you're still winning that war.
It's a swing and miss there. Labrador with a nice pitch.
So Eve's in that 9 spot. Again, this is what I tell her. Get on base, you're going to score.
And gets a nice piece of that, heading down the right field line. Does it catch a piece? It does! O'Neill is going to round third. Clinton is heading to third. O'Neill scores, and Clinton gets to third on a stand-up triple for the freshman. Big piece of hitting there by Eve Clinton. Triple down the right field line. Able to get all the way to third. Scores O'Neill to put the Wolverines up 2-0.
So not only does she knock in a run, but now she's on third base with the best hitters parading to the plate, starting with Sasha Marino.
And that was something you mentioned, the 9-hitter. And Marino catches a piece of that. It's heading towards second. Clinton is going to score. And it was kind of a oops, check swing. Got a piece of it, but effective because Clinton comes across the board to put the Wolverines up 3-0.
Yeah, almost a pseudo-suicide squeeze right there.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. But I look at the 9-hitter as when you have a 9-hitter like that, you have 2 1-hitters. And when you have a 9-hitter that gets on base like that, and then you have the top of the lineup, what an advantage to have. The baseball team had that last year, and John Quinn, and I would mention it every time. He was always on base. He was stealing bases too. And you're doing that with the meat of the lineup coming up. It's a great asset to have.
Big confidence boost for Eve there too. Starting out as a freshman, got to be some nerves.
Yeah.
Playing really well in the field. Just looking to get some energy going there, some confidence at the plate.
Home game too. Outside pitch. We get, I think, just 1 ball and 2 strikes. Poles, she struck out in her first at bat. That's the swing and miss there. So Labrador gets the strikeout, and that is going to be, nope, 2 balls, 2 strikes. So I had the count off. So 2-2 count for Poles. And Labrador gets the strikeout. So Wolverines plating 2 runs across. Eve Clinton with a big triple, and then able to score herself, put the Wolverines up 3-1. We're going to take a quick break, folks. We'll be right back for the start of top of the third.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back, folks. Score correction. I think I said 3, Westwood up 3-1. It's 3-0. So 3-0 for the Wolverines after 2 innings. It is the top of the 3rd inning. And coming to the plate for Fontbonne is the left fielder, Jolly. And her sister, the center fielder, following up right after her, the top of the lineup. The first pitch is low for Jolly. Mulkeen, 5 strikeouts so far through 2 innings. Great start for the senior captain. And she gets a strike called there, so 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, you know, Bridge is always going to have an advantage when she faces a team that has not seen
Yes,
her yet.
yeah.
I think that's what you saw with both Hopkinton and Holliston. A lot of girls who have faced Bridget a couple of times, and that's going to be part of her challenge this year. You know, figuring out ways to get through lineups that are familiar with her.
That is spot on, where when I was calling the Hopkinton game, I noticed Hopkinton really shortened their swings. And they've seen her now, a lot of them who've been playing for 3-4 years, they've seen her twice a year for the last few years. And they realized she's got a great fastball. And your chance of getting a ball in play is you got to shorten that swing. And you're playing another strikeout from Mulkeen. Mulkeen, 6 strikeouts so far. Gets Jolly by way of the K.
I like that. That has a nice ring to it right there.
Yeah.
Jolly by way of the K.
Jolly by way of the K. And now we have the other Jolly up at the plate. Center fielder for Fontbonne, leadoff hitter. She takes swings and miss on that first pitch strike, or first pitch fastball. So Tom, as a coach for many of these players, they were very complimentary of you when I had talked to them. But from your perspective, do you see them like, like they're your children? You know, you helped kind of raise them, and coach them. And, now you're watching them compete at the varsity level.
Yeah, every single person on this field right now I've coached, and it's an amazing feeling to see them play at this level and kind of graduate up the ranks.
That is fouled. That's going to head towards the tennis court. Ends up in the tennis court. Everyone's safe.
And you can envision this, years back, you start thinking, what's it going to be like in 2024?
Yeah.
What's it going to be like in 2025? And, this is a really vital year with Bridget in her senior season, a lot of freshmen who contribute. I expect big things from this team.
When you were coaching, did you know back then that there was something special about Bridget?
Oh, no question about it. We featured her in Westwood Living as our Athlete of the Month. She was our first Athlete of the Month, and I think that was back in 2023, so almost 2 years ago now. 2 years ago now. And I recall the story when we were playing in the fall, and it was at the end of the first inning in Natick, and the umpire walked in. We were, 12 years old at that point, and he looked at her and he said, "Congratulations on being a varsity pitcher when you're a freshman in high school."
That's actually pretty unique thing for him to say, because he knows that it's an intimidating thing to do. That you got 9 people counting on you, including yourself, and you're doing it as a freshman. And then how about the start she had her first game? No hitter, incredible. And she's had, I think, a few of them. We called one last year against Ashland, and we didn't even really we butchered the call because they had the run rule. So we didn't know that it was ending in the 5th inning.
Got it.
We were, we were ready for 2 more innings, to make the call. And then when we saw them going through the handshake line, we're like, uh-oh, we missed it here. Bunt, ball is fouled though.
I think what's really played into her success is not only the support of so many people around her,
Yeah.
but she really loves it, Morgan. You know, she loves softball. There was a point in her career where she was also playing soccer, and
Yeah.
she decided to focus on this.
Yeah.
And there was a period of time a couple of years ago.
Showing bunt again. Oh, what a catch by Walsh. She's checking in on first.
You know, Bridget made a very tough but smart decision to move to a showcase 18U club team.
Yeah.
And it paid off because, you know, that's what ultimately opened the door for her to go to Holy Cross. And
Yeah.
we certainly missed her because we had built.
That one is fouled again.
We'd built a really good team with the Westwood girls. And it actually inspired the team the next year because it was like, hey, did we win just because of her?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
can we win without her?
Yeah.
And that team was able to win a tournament the next year. And I think all of them felt very fulfilled because it showed that it wasn't just one person.
Pitch low. Walsh checking in again. What a cannon she has.
Yeah, she can fire it, right?
And what a play she had to keep the ball in front of her. Malkeen threw a high fastball, and Walsh can go up and get it. You know, she's quite an athlete to be able to get that fastball to make sure that the runner stays at first base and doesn't advance to second in scoring position. And she looks again. What a talent! She reminds me of John Bertone, you know, on the boys team.
Yeah, talk about a talent, man. That kid, from the
yeah.
day he hit the field as a freshman, he was able to do that.
And you can tell they eat, sleep, and breathe baseball and softball. And that's going to be ball 4. So runner is going to get on. O'Leary goes to first, Jolly to second. We're going to get the catcher. C is going to be up with 2 outs and runners on first and second. 1 out, excuse me. So only 1 out. And the Wolverines going to talk about it real quick. Get some great leadership out there to all connect and get focused on this batter here.
A lot of options offensively here too, because with 1 out, you could lay one down. You got a lefty hitter.
Yep.
It's a shorter distance to
Yep.
first base. Tough to throw that batter runner out with a bunt. And here it comes.
And miss on the bunt, so strike. And two things I've noticed in softball, Tom, is don't be surprised if you see a 3 or 4 hitter throw down a bunt to advance runners. And the other thing too, pitch that is down the left field line and foul. The other thing I've seen too is I've seen batters still bunt with 2 strikes.
Yeah, Tom does that a lot. I think his philosophy on that is like, listen, you got one job to do, and you're not going to be bailed out because there's 2 strikes. I want you to get the bunt down.
So 2 quick strikes from Malkeen. The 0-2 pitch, that's fouled to the backstop. So Bridget was telling me she's got a few pitches. So she's got a fastball, she's got a rise ball, she's got a off-speed pitch. She's got 2 off-speed pitches, I believe. One that has a little movement on it, and then one that's more, just a delayed pitch. And she uses it, very particularly. You're not going to see the off-speed pitch as often as you would see, professional baseball players, and very strategic, which keeps batters guessing even more. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. That ball is fouled.
You know, there are certain times in every game where you look at everybody else on the bench and you say, strikeout would really be good right here.
Yeah.
And this is one of those instances. If you can get through this situation with 2 runners on,
Yep.
where really all this batter needs to do is just lay down a bunt and move those 2 runners over.
Yep.
If you can get a strikeout here.
Oh, and a beautiful pitch. Malkeen gets the strikeout, a huge strikeout for the 2nd out for the Wolverines, and that is her 7th strikeout so far. Incredible.
Now they don't have any outs to play with, so in that previous situation, they could have laid one down and moved the runners over, and then those runners are able to advance on a wild pitch.
Absolutely.
Or a run can score that way. So this is really just a matter of focus on the batter with 2 outs.
Yep. That strikeout is huge. To be able to just focus on the batter. You don't care what the runners do. If the runners advance, to third, you're just focused on this 1 out. That is hit down the right field line, the right side, and that's going to be foul. So C, who is the second base and also the sister to the catcher, up at the plate. And she's got 2 strikes right off the bat, so 0-2. And a swing and miss. Bridget Mulkeen. My goodness. 8 strikeouts through 3 innings so far for Mulkeen. So after 2.5, Westwood 3, Fontbonne nothing. Welcome back, folks. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Izzy Walsh leading it off for the Wolverines. Izzy walked in her first at-bat in the 1st inning. Takes a first pitch high for ball 1.
Yeah, she hasn't seen a strike yet.
No.
So you talked about her patience. Talk about a girl who just wants to get up there and rip. She's
Incredible.
looked at 5 pitches.
On base percentage. She's got to be the team leader. And she gets hit with a pitch, and she's going to get on first base.
That's right. She's good at that. Amelia's good at that, and Abby is good at that as well. They will just take that contact. If that ball's coming at them, they'll soak it up.
There's an art to it. Carl Everett was pretty good at it because he was basically standing on home plate.
Don Baylor, right?
Yeah,
Going back.
yeah. So Bridget Mulkeen up at the plate. She gets out of the way. That pitch was inside. Izzy is certainly a player. When she's on base, she gets the pitcher and catcher's attention.
Oh, no question. She's fun to watch running the bases. I'll try to get her here in between pitches.
She'll do delayed steals. She does, she tries to force a throw, which she's pretty good at getting back to the bag, but we see overthrows and she'll work her way to second. So just like Bertone, a nuisance on the base path. We're getting a lot of attention and so high IQ. She is going to put herself into a little bit of a pickle, but gets back to the base. That's another thing. So when she gets a ball on the ground and she's got a player on second base, she will get into a pickle to allow that, and does it perfectly. And is able to get so many runners across the plate by and forces a throw there to first. Gets in safely. Does a great job though to get the runners in on third when she rounds first. So 2 balls, 2 strike count for Mulkeen. She hit her first one right towards us for a single. She fouls that one off. Well, she is every bit as impressive with a bat in her hand. And we've seen a lot of RBIs, a lot of gap hits for her. I mentioned the 2 balls she hit to the fence at Morrison Park last year. And that one is hit off the sawed-off, caught by the third baseman for the first out. Walsh going to stay at first. And that's going to bring up Abby Johnson to the plate. I did confirm with one of the coaches, so it sounds like senior night's going to be right back at Morrison.
May 12th.
There is no better place.
It's going to be great. And I'm excited about it too because there's a couple of girls who are on the Dedham team who have grown up playing for the team we lovingly call Deadwood.
Yes.
Elena Martin and Mary Stronach are seniors on that Dedham team. So it's a little combo night where we get a chance to celebrate those two as well.
They do a great job of honoring the seniors on other teams. And that is chopped towards second. Second base going to throw it on to first for the second out. But Walsh able to advance to second. So Walsh is in scoring position with 2 outs. And coming to the plate for the Wolverines is Mia French.
I started thinking about it recently, though, Morgan. I was like, I get the speakers.
Yeah.
What's going to be on the playlist?
The playlist. Now, did the girls, did that catch a piece of the hand? Looked like it caught the butt end of the bat, so maybe caught a little bit of both, but because it hit the bat, or actually...
Yeah, they're going to have her hang in there.
Yeah, so she definitely got hit with it, but the umpire is going to say it caught a piece of the bat, so she's going to stay at the plate.
I think we were going to ask if the girls have input on the playlist.
Yes. I remember last year you were playing your music and they asked for a change or a switcheroo.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, some great tunes on there. I mean, as someone who grew up in the '90s, there's some great music on that playlist.
Don't say I don't know how to rile up a crowd, Morgan.
No,
but in that regard, one of the things they wanted is, hey, can we do walk-up songs?
I was going to say that, yeah.
But there's just not enough time. It happens so fast. I'm lucky to get their names in before they step into the box, let alone a song.
You get them fired up, not only coming to the plate, but if they make a big hit, you're getting their name going in the background. It's awesome. That pitch is outside. Walsh took a big secondary lead on that pitch, so she is ready to go on any contact. So 1-1 count. That's fouled off down the left side.
Now, Morgan, I will say I did get what I won't call a complaint, but an acknowledgement from some neighbors that they were aware of the fact we were there.
Well, we'll invite them next time.
All right.
And a swing and miss there. So that is going to be the third out here in the bottom of the third. So after 3 innings, Westwood 3, Fontbonne nothing. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back for the start of the top of the fourth.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back to the top of the fourth inning. Westwood up 3-0. Bridget Malkin having a day. 8 strikeouts so far through her first 3 innings. Gets the first pitch strike. After that, just fouled to the backstop. And a great game we have so far. Nice matchup, both pitchers. Been sharp so far. That is hit up the middle for a single. Crony gonna send it into second base. And that's a single for Dedham. I gotta get a confirmation. That is Hubbard. So Hubbard, the third base for Dedham with the
Make a
leadoff
note
single.
that her name is Shannon, just so you know for next time.
Shannon Hubbard. There we go.
A lot of Shannons. Way to go, Shannons around here.
Yes, it's been a popular one. So that's a first pitch strike for Zhang. Zhang is the designated hitter for the Ducks. Shows bunt, gets down, and it's a fair ball. Throw on to first is out. What a throw by, and checking in on second. And Hubbard is safe. What a throw by Walsh. That's a tough throw to make. You got the runner running down the line. She had to get an angle to get that ball over to Eve Clinton. She did in time for the out.
So now we've got the batter who sent one to the fence last time.
Yes. Ford, the first baseman for the Ducks. She hit a towering double. One hop, hit the fence. Great job by Poles. Got it in there just to keep Ford on second. And the Wolverines able to get out of the inning unscathed. No runs plated. Outside pitch gets away. Hubbard going to work her way to third. So Hubbard on third with 1 out. So 2 balls, no strikes for Ford. Malkin, beautiful pitch. Gets the strike call there. So 2 balls and 1 strike.
I believe that's the first runner to third base for Fontbonne.
It is, yeah. Yeah, they kept Ford at second and gets a foul ball there for 2 strikes. So we got an even count, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So I always used to say, obviously you're looking for a base hit here, but if you're in this situation as a hitter, just put the ball in the air.
Yeah.
Put it in the air. Just think fly ball.
Yeah. Oh, Malkin, a huge strikeout. My goodness, gets her 9th strikeout. And that's what you call a situational strikeout. You got a runner on third. Now you can just focus on the batter. You got 2 outs, and that is a huge, huge strikeout versus a pretty good hitter. And she is feeling it. Gets the first pitch strike on La Flamme. Flamme struck out her last at-bat. Oh, swing and miss. A really well located pitch, low strike, and gets La Flamme to swing and miss. We get an 0-2 count. Mulkeen looking to get her 10th of the game. The 0-2 pitch, outside, just missed. She's going to reset. A 1-ball, 2-strike pitch. Oh, just missed. 2 in a row that have been close. Just missed. And I love what I see. Very competitive, you know, positive body language on 2 close pitches. She's just focused on the next one. And she gets the swing and miss for the strikeout. Bridget Mulkeen, 10 strikeouts through 4 innings. What a job she is doing at the mound so far. So after 3.5 innings, Westwood 3, Fontbonne nothing. Welcome back, folks. Bottom of the 4th inning. Amelia O'Neill leading it off for the Wolverines. Story of the game so far, outside of the Eve Clinton triple, Bridget Mulkeen, my goodness, 10 strikeouts. Out of 12 possible outs, 10 has been strikeouts. That's an inside pitch. Just O'Neill was able to get out of the way.
Almost exactly what we were talking about, though. Amelia almost just took that one right off her hip.
Yeah. But there is an art. There's been major leaguers who've made careers off of leaning in. You know, Mo Vaughn used to have that pad on the arm, and he wouldn't lean in, but it was more protecting himself because he wanted that inside strike where he could pull. There's a lot of players, you see the armor all over the arm, and they have no problem, you know, getting on base the old-fashioned way. There's 3 balls and 1 strike for O'Neill. And she's going to get on base with a walk, a leadoff walk for O'Neill.
And here comes Julia. Remember last time Julia Raffoni came up, first pitch bunt that moved Amelia over.
This is like deja vu because
Yeah.
O'Neill in the 2nd inning, on base. Raffoni got her to 2nd base. And she's showing bunt. And that's a big thing too. So getting the ball in play on the ground is not the easiest thing to do. And when you do that successfully, that your teammates are fired up. You know, it's a selfless play to do, but it's also an important play to get your runner in scoring position. Shows bunt again. It does get it on the ground. The throw to first is in time. And O'Neill again, deja vu on 2nd base with Eve Clinton coming to the plate with 1 out.
You are not watching a replay. I mean, this is
We
carbon
got Dad
copy of what
Brian
we
Clinton
saw.
walking by. That was the
There
first
it
high
is.
school hit. So great way to get your first high school hit. A triple, RBI triple. And a rip up in center field, hits the ground. It's going to get its way to the fence. O'Neill is going to score, and Clinton is going to work her way to 3rd for, like we said, Tom, deja vu, a
Unbelievable.
triple. So it is the exact setting of what we saw in the 2nd inning, a triple, stand-up triple, plates O'Neill and Clinton, 2 for 2. 2 triples, 2 RBIs. My goodness, her 2nd varsity hit.
You move to the 9 hole, and it's almost like all the pressure's off. There's fewer expectations per se, and it just allows somebody who's trying to get experience and confidence to loosen up. And I mean, that was a rip. You know, you could tell just getting that first hit a couple innings ago gave Eve the confidence that she needed. And I mean, there was no hesitation there. That was a first pitch bullet to center field.
Unbelievable. Dad is fired up here, Brian Clinton. And see Mom here as well, Jess Clinton. I believe she's been a great help with the Game Changer. She was working the Game Changer app in Hopkinton, which is so helpful, being able to get all the stats in real time. So Sasha Marino up at the plate. She singled in the 1st inning Did a check swing ground out to, I believe, first, but helped plate Clinton in the second inning.
Interesting. That was a suicide squeeze right there.
A little small ball action.
Eve was on the move with the pitch.
Yeah.
She was halfway down the line.
Yeah.
See if we go that way again here with Sasha at the plate.
Yeah, so 1 out, 1 ball, 1 strike for Marino. Shows bunt again, gets it on the ground. Clinton working away to home, gets there in time. So an effective, basically safety squeeze for the Wolverines to go up 5-0. So a little small ball action for the Wolverines and effective to get that run across the board. And you know, when you're playing a team that's 5-1, you got to manufacture runs. That's an effective way to get that run across. But also, you know, you got the heart of the lineup. You know, Sasha, the leadoff hitter. Now you got Mia Poles up at the plate, the number 2 hitter. It actually looks like we got
it's Bella Gentile.
Bella Gentile
stepped in,
hitting in for Poles right now. And they could switch it back at some point too, so Poles could go in. Is that the rules now, where you can?
Yes.
If you're taken out, you're not out of the game.
Yes.
Wish I had that rule in high school. I'm like, I'm good, coach. I sat 2 innings. I'm feeling fresh.
So Bella's a sophomore, and you remember that she had a big game. We keep talking about that senior night game at Morrison last year. She's a great athlete, field hockey player. Yeah,
her and Tartufo. Very impressive games as freshmen in the senior night, crucial senior night, which clinched a share of the TVL title for the first time in, was it 41 years, Tom? It was a while and historic night.
It's been 1983, so 41 years.
Yeah. It's a ball outside, checking in on first. Marino back safely.
You know, you just mentioned Julia Tartufo, who deserves some credit here, because Julia this year, certainly deserving of being on this varsity roster based on what she did last year, but the JV team needed a pitcher. And when you think about what the future of this program is going to be, who's going to pitch next year with Bridget at Holy Cross, you know, they got to develop somebody. And so Julia is the number 1 pitcher with the JVs, and she's working with Anissa Amaryllis, who was an assistant coach last year at the varsity level. She's the head coach for the JV team this year, and that's all kinds of good, because Julia's got to be ready to contribute at the highest level next year.
And Labrador gets the strikeout on Gentile for the 2nd out. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Izzy Walsh coming to the plate. She was hit by pitch in her last at bat, also walked in the 1st inning, so a 1,000 on base percentage so far this game.
She's seen 7 pitches and none of them have been a strike.
Oh. That ball gets away. Marino working away to second. The throw is late. Does work its way into center field, but the shortstop able to jump on it pretty quickly to keep Marino at second base. So Marino in scoring position with Walsh at the plate. A 1 ball, 1 strike count. That pitch is high. Marino taking a big secondary lead. She's definitely been getting the attention of the catcher. She got about 2 throws checking in on her on first. She also got a throw to second where she took a bigger lead. So very aggressive, but calculated on the base path. And that one's heading our way. And then caught. Beautiful catch by the center fielder for the 3rd out to end the 4th inning. So Wolverines getting another run off the bat of, or getting another couple runs off the bat of Clinton, and then a little small ball on the safety squeeze. So after 4 innings, Westwood 5, Fontbonne nothing.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back, folks. Top of the 5th inning. So Bella Gentile, she batted for Mia Poles in the bottom of the 4th, and she is now in for Poles in left field. And Malkeen right back at it, gets a first pitch strike. She has been all world today. 10 strikeouts through 4 innings. Gets a swing and miss. Strike 2. What's the most strikeouts you've seen?
I've seen her get up in the 15, 16 range.
She will hit 700 with that pace.
Yeah.
That ball is fouled off.
I think most people are thinking 750.
Yeah,
That's a realistic
that
goal.
seems very realistic.
And then the stretch goal is 50 wins. She's sitting on 36 right now. So
certainly has the skill set, the bats around her to do that. Wolverine's doing it all today, and doing it with different players today. Eve Clinton having a day. Her first 2 varsity hits, both triples, 2 RBIs, 2 runs, and then a little small ball. I love to see that. To be able to manufacture runs in addition to the hits.
And to your point, with probably the best hitter in the lineup.
Yes. I mean, that
Sasha
shows
Marino.
an example. And another strikeout. Malkeen's 11th strikeout of the game. It's the first out here in the top of the 5th. Love to see that too. Abby and Sasha and me and Eve, all the infielders, giving a little daps to Malkeen after that strikeout. The first pitch, swing and a miss. Dialed.
When this break is over and they come back, they face a Medway team that's going to be really angry, a very competitive team.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of good games against Medway over the years, including a game that went extra innings last year at Medway that we won. And this league from top to bottom is just going to be competitive. I mean, Norton is undefeated. Hopkinton undefeated. A lot of talented teams.
Yeah, it was surprising. So you mentioned Dedham. Dedham's going to be the senior night game, and fun game for Westwood and Dedham. The girls are talking about Dedham as a rival. So Hopkinton obviously a rival, but Dedham being, a fun rival where I think Westwood this year, that ball's in play. French picks on it, throws it to first for the second out. But they were mentioning that they have friends on that team, but also I think Dedham's gotten the better of Westwood over the last couple of years.
It's really odd because, Dedham this year moved up to the large division, but previously they were in the small, which means that you only played them once.
Yeah.
And Dedham had won each of the last 4 matchups. So before this year's season opener, Westwood had not beaten Dedham. And yeah, that familiarity plays into the rivalry.
That's a sharply hit ball, foul.
As we talked about earlier too, a couple of Dedham's best players, they don't have that unfamiliar uncomfortability against Bridget because they know her so well.
Yeah.
So they had that ability. They were unfazed when they went up against her. And, Dedham did indeed have our number. So that's not going to be an easy game by any stretch on senior night on May 12th.
That is going to be a fun game. Folks, get to Morrison Park for that. It is a memorable place to watch a game. And, I remember all the clips in another strikeout. Malkeen, her 12th strikeout of the game after 4.5 innings. Incredible. So after 4.5, Westwood 5, Fontbonne nothing. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 5th. Welcome back, folks. Bottom of the 5th. Malkeen leading off. Looking to help out the effort. Bridget had a single in the first, and then she grounded out, or no, she popped out to the third baseman her last at bat. So 1 for 2 on the day. Good eye there. 2 balls, no strikes. Malkeen, 12 strikeouts on the day.
And what's fun about watching Bridget grow up and play is that from the very beginning, she loved hitting.
Yeah. It's got to be a fun, oh, and gets a single up the middle. Well-positioned hit there, and leadoff hitter on board, Bridget Mulkeen. It's got to be pretty fun when you have that control to help out the effort on the mound. And we've seen her, I mean, right off the bat, the first game I ever did, she had a no-hitter, and then she had a leadoff home run on the first pitch she saw. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting, it was the first thing I remember of watching her pitch, and it was quite the introduction to seeing her play. So Abby Johnson up at plate. We have Renata in running for Mulkeen at first. Johnson 0 for 2 so far. I think she grounded out to the third base and then grounded out to second base in her first 2 plate appearances.
This year's freshman class, very instinctive, and they've played with Tom Grandy a lot during the summer over the years and won some tournaments. And you can tell, they have the right instincts on the base paths.
Johnson swings and misses on that pitch, inside pitch, so 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So you really don't lose much on the base paths when you have that courtesy runner.
Yeah.
Whether it's Granada running for Bridget or whether it's Brooke Benger running for Bridget. Both of them very, very capable. And also they can hit too.
That one hit sharply, and that's foul. Nice cut on that one.
Catherine has been in the lineup, and actually Catherine's a really good catcher too. Yeah. And man, can she throw, which I think ultimately is going to benefit this team down the road because if you can get Catherine behind the plate and put Izzy Walsh out in the field too, I mean, Izzy's a great athlete.
That's an outside pitch. That's a great point you make, Tom, because one of the topics, and Granada working away to second, gets in there safely. So high IQ play there, was waiting. As soon as that ball was thrown to the pitcher, she darted for second and got in with a stolen base. So Granada getting an impact out there on the base path.
Case in point right there. I mean, that's a freshman well aware of the situation and, not just watching the game, influencing the game.
That ball is fouled off by Johnson, but it was a funny point you made where Granada can help out catching. And I had a question I asked Amelia O'Neill was, I heard she was the emergency catcher. And she told me about the situation where not necessarily a catcher, but was willing and able to get in there when I think Izzy was either injured or sick. But, great to have that depth where someone can get into that role and feel somewhat natural behind the plate.
That was the Medway game last year. Izzy got hurt. Amelia had to go behind the plate. They moved Dahlia to first, and that was probably Amelia's best game. She hit a home run in that game against Medway last year. So
wasn't that bad by Johnson. So Johnson went down early 0-2 and just battled, absolutely battled. A lot of fouled off pitches, and then gets the walk. Just a great at-bat there for the junior captain. Going to bring Mia French up to the plate. That's heading towards second and caught by the second baseman for the first out. Thought it was going to be a liner out here, but got a little bit under that. That's the first out here on the bottom of the 5th.
So I know you've probably never been down to that Medway field, but it doesn't have a right field fence. So it's funny. They say, well, it giveth and it taketh away.
Yes.
It kind of benefits both teams.
It's got to work out great for Mulkeen if she hits a gap one and you're chasing after. That's a stand-up home run.
Well, that's what happened with Amelia last year. She hit one out there to right field in Medway and motored around the bases for a home run.
So swing and miss. 0-2 count. A quick 2 strikes for Labrador. And O'Neill swing and miss, and Labrador gets a strikeout for the second out.
That's
2 outs.
First time we're seeing Raffoni in a non-bunt situation.
Yes. It's the first time I feel like I'm not taking crazy pills where we're seeing the same exact thing happening in the 2nd and 5th inning. So Raffoni fouls that one off to the backstop. So no deja vu this inning.
Good opportunity here for another freshman, right?
Yep.
Got 2 people on base.
When you can get the confidence of getting some hits and helping out the effort for your team, it is going to be so beneficial for the remaining games. And you're going to remember it. When you're a senior and you're a counted upon, player on the team and you've had plenty of games under your belt, you remember the first ones. You remember the thoughts you had is, am I am I good enough? Am I worthy? And then you have 2 triples in a row like Clinton did. Welcome to the varsity team, Eve Clinton. What a day. So 1-2 strike count. That ball's fouled off. Orfoni able to get a piece of that one. But that's something you mentioned, the summer leagues, all that, Tom. We never had that 10, 15 years ago. So incredible where softball is today in the town of Westwood, and a strike out there to end the inning. So strikeout by Labrador. That's going to do it here in the 5th inning. After 5 innings of softball, Westwood 5, Fontbonne nothing.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Top of the 6th inning here. Wolverines up 5-0. Mulkeen getting right back in the action. We have Catherine Granata in left field now, so she replaced Bella Gentile after stealing a base. So Catherine Granata been doing a great job on the base path. She's been the designated runner for Mulkeen when she's been on base. And I saw she got, I think, a hit in RBI in the Ashland game. So a very active freshman, which makes you think what a great program we have here in town, Tom, with the Westwood Youth Softball, the club teams. What a difference that has made for these kids. And you've been involved yourself over the years.
Well, Tom Grandy deserves all the credit for that, because he really identified these kids when they were, 10U and 12U. And that's the age that, there's another strikeout.
13th.
That's the age that as a high school coach, you're still allowed to, work with the kids, because once they become of high school age, the high school coaches are no longer allowed to work with them during the off season. And that's where, the more engaged parents like myself and Tom Mulkeen and Ann O'Neill and Nicole Johnson get to insert ourselves and help out a little bit. But it was really Grandy who started that summer program and got these girls playing together almost as our own club team. And it's really remarkable.
Yeah.
And I think you've got the established club teams where girls from all over the place play on that one regional team, and then all of a sudden Westwood shows up at these events, and you could just get the sense that we were getting our butts kicked early.
Yeah.
But with more and more experience came more confidence.
Got to show up, give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? You're gonna get better. And what a great culture that created culture, Tom. I mean, there was no culture before that. Softball was a sport that basically other athletes played, and they had fun, and it wasn't a sport where they were playing summer softball. It wasn't a sport where there was really a big town program, and that has since changed. That ball is fouled off. But when I had posted about Westwood winning a share of the TVL title in the Old School Westwood Facebook group,
That was great.
there was so many Westwood softball players that commented how proud they were, how excited, how happy, and there was some members even of the 1983 TVL championship team that were chiming in.
That's
and it was
fantastic.
awesome, because they were, you really, what I've noticed, Tom, is the alumni are still somewhat hovered around Westwood, checking in, making sure that, they're beating the Medfields, they're, getting the big wins, they're competing for a TVL championship. And it was awesome to see in softball, like we've seen in a bunch of sports.
Well, this is a really special spring season, because you referenced it before the season even started. I think almost every single one of the teams that are suiting up have a chance to win a TVL
Sure
title.
do. Yep. That ball, check swing, pop-up heading towards the left field line. Marino extend the glove out, just missed, and that ball is foul. Well, great effort there by Sasha Marino. That looked like, Derek Jeter chasing that ball down at Yankee Stadium, ran into the stands, type of run.
You know how Sasha could have caught that ball, Morgan?
With the barehanded.
With the bare hand.
You have talked
I'm going to
about
have
that.
to talk to Sasha after the game.
But it reminds me of the conversation we had last year. The shortstops in the TVL, it reminds you of Jeter,
That's
Tejada,
right. Yep.
Alex Rodriguez. And then, you can even say the Vizquels. That was an amazing time to be a baseball fan, the late 90s, early 2000s, when it came to the shortstop position. And when you see Marino and Holly Paharic, Holly, she was very impressive. And
Lizzie Helmer from Norwood.
yeah.
She's a great athlete.
And surprisingly, some Medfield, who was a big player last year, a couple losses already throughout the season, and a strikeout from Mulkeen.
Well, the word I've heard there is that Kaylin Larkin.
Yes.
I
believe she had a sister last year too, right? It was two sisters.
So I think Kendall graduated.
Yeah.
And I think Kaylin decided not to play this year.
Oh no. They were terrific.
Yeah.
We got to send them a thank you, because without their win, Westwood wouldn't have the opportunity on senior night. If they had beaten Norwood, they wouldn't have been TVL champs had Medfield not beat Hopkinton earlier that day. That ball is heading towards right field. O'Neill tracking it down, gets the glove on it for the third out. A nice catch there by the senior captain, tracking that down and getting the third out in the top of the 6th inning. So we'll take a quick break, folks. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 6th. The Wolverines coming back to the plate. So bottom of the 6th inning coming up to the plate. Freshman Eve Clinton, 2 for 2 on the day, 2 triples, 2 RBIs, 2 runs.
She couldn't get her batting helmet on fast enough between innings. She ran to the bench,
fired up,
threw it on, and
like
literally was swinging at every warm-up pitch.
What a day she's having. Gets a good rip on that one. That is going to fall for a hit. So Clinton is going to work to second base. Does she get in safely? And she is safe. So is that technically a hit because it didn't touch a glove?
It is indeed.
That is a hit. 3 for 3 on the day.
For number 3.
Two doubles, or 2 triples, 1 double.
It was fun when Eve was given number 3. I sent a text to my daughter Dahlia, who wore number 3 last year. She's like, all right, passing the torch.
Monster game, Eve Clinton. Dahlia was a big piece of the team last year, setting that culture. And when I keep mentioning the Norwood game, but I do remember when they won that game, she was leading the base path after the game, run around the bases with the team in the celebration. It was an awesome sight and a memorable one. So Sasha Marino up at the plate with Clinton on second, and a well-hit ball. That's going to be foul, though. Marino got a nice piece of that one. But what an example Marino set by bunting. When Clinton was on third, they did a safety squeeze, which means Clinton doesn't run until the ball is in play. It's on the ground, and then she starts bolting. Where baseball, you can get that running head start. Softball, you have to stay on the base till it hits the bat, if I stand correct.
Yeah.
Right? But when you have your star shortstop, who's a tremendous hitter, bunting to get a run across the board, that's an amazing example you're setting for the team of team first.
Yeah. To be clear, you can leave when it leaves the pitcher's hand.
Oh, you can? Okay, good. Good to know. And that is these look like line drives when they're coming off the bat this way, but that fell in there and picked up by the second base, thrown to first for, I believe, the out. See Marino still on the base because she's going to work her way back now. So that is the first out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. I think she caught the end of the bat on that one. It looks like
there's Catherine Granada.
Yeah, Granada going to get a plate appearance here. So Granada filling in on where Mia Poles was hitting, and then we also had Bella Gentile getting at bat. Now Granada here in the 2 spot. And she's got fellow freshman Clinton on second base in scoring position. Takes a strike call there. So 1 ball, 1 strike for Granada. And it's a call strike there for the second strike. One ball, 2 strikes. Clinton at second, 1 out. And a swing and miss. Labrador gets the strikeout for Fontbonne's second out. It's going to bring Izzy Walsh to the plate. Izzy's been busy. She walked her first at bat. She got hit by a pitch. I believe she had a single as well. So, and she has been a nuisance on the base path with getting the catcher and pitcher's attention.
And that's the ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
That is taking
absolutely.
nothing away from Izzy. That's exactly what you want to be on base.
Takes a ball there. Does a great job of forcing pitches outside the strike zone. Takes a pitch there, so it's a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. If Walsh able to get on, Malkeen on deck. Walsh takes a cut there. So 2 balls and 2 strike count.
Izzy was hungry right there.
She
That
was.
was one of the rare pitches she's seen in the strike zone. She wasn't going to let it go by.
Good swing there. That is outside, so 3 balls and 2 strikes. A good eye there by Walsh. That's going to be ball 4. Clinton heading for third. That ball gets away, but great backup by the right fielder. Or left fielder, excuse me. And Izzy Walsh sneaks into second base. That is just, she is always engaged in the game. You know, I would have been asleep at the wheel, quite frankly, Tom, if I had just walked out. Or I would have slowly walked my way to first. Not Walsh. What a high IQ to work, to get to second base as that ball was being retrieved by the left fielder. Got to give a shout out to the left fielder. Great backup there to keep Eve Clinton at third, which brings Malkeen to the plate. Takes 2 balls in the first 2 pitches. Malkeen's got 2 players in scoring position. A great opportunity here. Add to the 5-run lead for the Wolverines. 2-0 pitch, and that is ripped. And it lands in the gap. Clinton scores, Walsh scores, and Malkeen with a stand-up double to help out the effort to put the Wolverines up 7-0. How about that piece of hitting, Tom? And we've seen hits to right field, that one going to left field.
Just when you need it. And I know it's a day where she's got, 14, 15 strikeouts?
Yep.
But, any type of insurance you can get,
Yeah.
just pile it on while you can.
Good for the confidence. You take it going into, the next game as well. But what a piece of hitting, timely hitting. It's always nice to add another 2 runs to your 5-run lead to give you a 7-0 lead. Off-speed pitch, inside and low. It's the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And more than anything else, Morgan, based on what happened over the last 2 losses, to have a game like this is exactly what this team needed before the spring break. Think about someone like Eve Clinton, right? Someone who hadn't gotten a hit yet. Now she's got all that time to be living with confidence, knowing she can get it done.
Absolutely, and Eve doing it in the 9 spot. And that's, if you have your 9 hitter like that, you're looking at your order and you're liking what you're seeing. And especially the second inning comes by, 3rd inning, Clinton doing what she's doing. And that's a strikeout there. So strikeout by Labrador, which is going to end the 6th inning. Wolverines going to come out in the field looking to close this game out, come away with the win. So we'll take a quick break and be right back for top of the 7th.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
So 16 strikeouts. So we had a little battery issue, folks. So Tom, he's got about 4% on there, and we're hoping that we can get this one in, but 2 outs right here in the top of the 6th inning. Mulkeen, 16 strikeouts, looking to get 17.
Top of the 7th, actually.
Top of the 7th. She's got 1 strike. She's got now 2 strikes.
Let's go, Bridge. We're running out of battery. Do it for the team.
So 2 outs, top of the 7th, 0-2 count. Pitcher Mulkeen, she gets the strikeout and the finish, and Walsh throws the ball in the air. What a game for the Wolverines. Bridget Mulkeen, 17 strikeouts on the day. Wolverines 7-0 winners over a 5-1, now 5-2 Fontbonne team. Eve Clinton, what a day for the freshman as well. My goodness.
Incredible day. Thank you, Morgan, for
Absolutely.
being here and calling the action. I know the girls appreciate it. Great job. Enjoy the break and get back to work, and see you girls when you play Medway.
Absolutely. So 7-0 win for the Wolverines. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We're looking forward to seeing you all in the next one.